I was so desperate. I couldn't find the money. We had a small congregation. Most of them were with Romanian immigrants.
Mhm.
And so the funds were very small. And we needed some construction materials.
Yes.
So I went to one of these shop warehouse that sold construction materials. So I met with the manager. I wanted to meet with the manager. I didn't want to talk with any salesman around.
Yes, yes.
So I wanted to meet with the manager. I met with the manager, and I said I need. I gave him a list with things that I needed for our reconstruction. And he looked at me and he said, no problem, Father, we can help you with that. Yeah, we have all the material. What is your budget? And I said, $175. And he started laughing right away. He said, $175, yes. He said, Father, with $175, I can give you the last two items, and those are nails. I said, okay. If that's what you can give me, then I will ask you one thing. I'm going home now, and I'm going to pray for you to find a solution for me.
Wow.
And I want you to look for every possible way that you can give me all these materials for $175.
Wow.
And he said, hey, Father, it's not possible. I said, listen, you keep the list. I go home and pray. You work on this.
Mhm.
He told me, so it was, I think the next day or about 2 days later, he calls me. He said, Father, I have all your materials and some more. I said, fine.
Wow.
I said, oh, just keep in mind, I still have $175. He said, it doesn't cost you a penny.
We are Emilian Nene,
And Silviana Carter,
the founders of Feel and Grow Rich project and the authors of the upcoming book called Feel and Grow Rich.
it is a great honor to introduce you to
Father
Father
Eugen
Eugen
Rosu.
Rosu, author
Morning.
of
Good morning, Emilian. Good morning, Silviana. Thank you for your invitation. I'm grateful for this time. And Silviana, we've been on and off on Facebook for some years now, I believe.
yes.
And Emilian, this is the first time we meet. However, you are part of the. I will spend a little more time with my first book, and you are co-authors of that book with your life stories. I am Father Eugen Rosu. I am a priest for an Orthodox priest for a little more than 30 years, and I have been all my life, my adult life, in the United States of America. All my ministry and everything, great memories that have been built after the age of 26 have been here in the United States. I grew up in Romania. I graduated from the, at the time, Institute of Theological Studies in Sibiu in 1990. And after that, I got married and moved to the United States. A year later, I was ordained priest and served a few parishes here in the United States. I also got a training for chaplaincy, a hospital chaplaincy. I had my first year of chaplaincy experience at Cleveland Clinic. An extraordinary experience where I had a chance to meet from the homeless of Cleveland streets to the princes and princesses of Saudi Arabia and Qatar. And everything was an experience to build, not only to understand the culture that everyone came in, from the homeless to the princes, but to understand how to administer the spiritual care they needed for that time while they were hospitalized with serious conditions. Nobody goes in a hospital to take care of a little scratch on their hand. Okay? So it was a very difficult time for them as patients, and a very challenging time for me to understand where they stand, and if there is any kind of support in their life, if there is a connection with God, if they look to have any kind of support or intervention from God through prayers or meditation, through reading, or anything that would help them cope and heal from what they had. Also, I recently graduated with a Doctor of Ministry from South University. I'm very proud of it. I worked, it was a project that I had for about 5 years, and completed my dissertation. It was approved, all the defending elements and so forth. And now I have the text filed with the archives of the United States, and it's a fulfilling time. Like I said, I've been married for 31 years, and together we have one wonderful, brilliant little girl, and she has her own preoccupations of writing, fiction writing. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, and this is about all. I think most of the things that would be part of what you might ask in your question. So
Yes,
Yes.
awesome. Father Eugen, you are author of the book Every Life Tells a Story, an anthology. What inspired you to write this book?
You know, the inspiration, I would say, came after I had my 1-year residence at Cleveland Clinic. As a chaplain there, on daily basis, I've heard so many life stories. People in pain, people in distress, people with very difficult situation at home. So when they were there to get better, to heal whatever physical and emotional or physical wounds, but the emotional wounds were not taken care of. So I did what I could to help them. I met people who were afraid to go back home because they were afraid to see again, to face again the challenges of their marriage, of their family interaction, again, to continue to have emotional hurt. And all of that was part of my challenge to be a better counselor to them, to make them understand that they can actually stand for themselves and not be afraid that once I get home, I'm going to be again mentally and verbally abused and all of that. And cases like this were people who thought that their illness was the illness, like nobody else had that illness. I give an example. A patient, he said, "But you don't understand my illness." I said, "Listen, the whole area here is the patients with the same illness like yours. So stop making yourself a hero, a unique patient." And you know, sometimes we have to shake ourselves, and we have to shake those who think of themselves, who put themselves down because they think this is terrible, I cannot have escape, there is no way out, and you know, and we need to just shake them a little bit. You know, wake up. This is not the end. It's just a bump in the road. You just jump, dust yourself, and move on. So this is a very important aspect in the healing process. We cannot get healed if we are alone, because we think of the illness in one pattern, in one shape. We don't know what it is, And the first thing nowadays, you know, everybody is an expert by reading something on the internet. And suddenly, you know, the doctor is obsolete. The medicine school has no meaning because I read it on the internet and I know everything. So instead of curing ourselves with sources from the internet, we better ask for help. And this help is not something that is good only for the moments when we are ill. It's good for anything in our life. So stories like this, stories that I've heard over the years as a parish priest, with all sorts of situations. And again, I was for 3.5 years, I was a chaplain for the University of Pittsburgh and Carnegie Mellon University, working with students and working with faculty. You think that, okay, if this person is a professor at university, everything is good. We still have problems. We still are human beings who struggle with things, who have challenges, who have family issues, who have personal issues. And this was the time when we walked in, we stepped in to help them. At Cleveland Clinic, as a chaplain, I didn't handle only the patients. I also worked with, especially the main group that I work personally. I work with medical the residents in the medical field. They were probably the ones who struggled the most because they had a very rigid schedule for 12 hours or sometimes 24 hours, working in the stress with so many patients in different, you know, they had to keep up with whatever happened in there. And sometimes let's say they just made stupid mistakes, you know, didn't think everything. And when you think of the age, okay, they're about 20 something, early 20s or mid 20s. And in that stressful situation, in challenging condition, yes, they made mistakes. So my role, at least, I saw myself as a guide for them, to help them figure out where they need to go or what they need to do. The counseling aspect of it was very important. Many of them were far away from home. They had no family around to reach, and sometimes they were embarrassed to call their parents with not so pretty problems, issues. So they avoided that. So we were the stranger who could help them without telling them, how could you make such stupid mistake? You know, I told you from the time you were little, you know, that parenting thing. So for them, it was, okay, this is a safe haven. I can go here, I can talk, I can tell my problems without being judged, without being punished, without being yelled at. Where, you know, it was a nice, safe environment where they could speak. And so everyday stories. When I was at the hospital, I talked with everybody, said hello to everybody, including the people who were carrying the laundry. They brought. If you ever have a chance to go in the basement of the Cleveland Clinic, it's a maze. You can get lost in there very easily. There are no directions. There are no signs. You have to know where you're going. And those were the people who did all the cleaning, from cleaning the floors, from washing windows, cleaning the bathrooms, people who did the laundry, all the bed sheets and everything else that needed to be cleaned, everything every day. So, you know, sometimes they were abandoned, you know, like cornered. You are in the basement, nobody talks to you. So when they found out that chaplains can reach to them and help them and be there for them, you could see the light, you know, on their face, even though you are in the basement. and no sunlight could get in there, but you could see they radiate that, oh, people actually care about us, they think about us. It's not just hello, how are you, and by the time you say I'm okay, the other person is 2 meters away. It was an interaction that you can actually look in each other's eyes and have a discussion about what is going on about the life. So the anthology has authors from, my daughter is the one, she's the youngest of all the contributing authors, and there are people from all sorts of all walks of life, with experiences. There are three successful published authors already. They have their own books out there, and they are part of this core of contributing authors. They are journalists, they are college professors, they are more of a secretary, project managers. They're also there's a coach. There's a coach in there. So everyone has a story to tell. Everyone should tell a story. We should make time to listen to someone's story. Yes. Because not making time, being available is more important than anything else. In today's society, we have very little time. The time spent for adults now is almost reaching the same number of minutes as a 3-year-old, like 2 minutes. If you speak more than 2 minutes, okay, I lost you. I'm not there with you. So we need to listen to these stories. Stories can be told in 2 or 3 minutes and still have a meaning, still have an impact. But I mean, you don't have to read a 500 pages novel to get one message. You can read 300 words. 1 page, basically, 1 page, a story, and get a lot. Yes. Because the important thing is to actually make the time to listen to the other one. If we don't make the time, there are no stories. The stories are there only if we make the time for them. Without making time, there's nothing.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. What are your top 3 priorities in life?
Priorities in life. That's an easy one. Number 1 is God. Number 2 is family. And number 3, myself. I cannot move around. I cannot see myself without the power of God being on me, being an influence, receiving His blessings every day. And I had challenges while I was in Romania, but I think coming to the United States, challenges actually multiplied. Not only that, but I had a big hiccup with the language. I had to learn a language I only knew to read. I couldn't speak the language. I had to practice, speak and listen and speak again. Everything was new. Everything was new, from the people around me, to the food, to transportation, to distances, to everything. Everything was new. So I had to adjust to that. And God provided for me people to guide me, people to tell me what is good, what is not good, what is important, what is not important. And family is what God blessed us to have a family, to have someone to rely on, someone to talk to without being cast out, without becoming the subject of the gossip. Family is the safe place where everyone should go and feel good when talking about happy things, talking about unhappy things, talking about anything. Family is there, and eating together, talking together, watching a show together. playing games together. Everything is becoming more important. Myself, yes, it can sound egotistic, but if I don't take care of myself, I cannot enjoy anything. I cannot enjoy my family. I cannot enjoy God's blessings. I cannot enjoy anything that comes my way. So I have to take care of myself. I want to take care of myself. It is important for me to take care of myself so I can enjoy everything God provides for me, including my family. So these are the three things that I have in life.
Yes.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Father Eugen, what are the habits that lead you to your success?
Let me look on my paper. I wrote.
Okay.
Yeah. Not that I don't know, but this way. The number one, Silviana, is faith. Faith in God, and faith that what I intend to do is going to be good for me and is going to be a benefit to others. If I don't have this faith rooted in God first, then it's going to be a waste of time, a wandering around without purpose. There's another thing is perseverance. If you start something, you have to persevere to do it, to finish it. Mm-hmm. Even if you have and perseverance, I don't see it only. Okay, I got in a race and now I finished. Even if I finished the last, but I finished it. Okay, I persevered. I wouldn't go in any race because probably they would close everything, the booths and everything, and they'll go home. And by the time I arrive, there's gonna be nobody there. So I gave up on that. But it's not only finishing the race; it's how you do the project. If you have a project, you have to persevere to make sure that you stay on track. You keep track of things. One of my professors, my guide in my dissertation, said you have to set a date with your dissertation. Wow. So now, in other words, okay, let's say from 9 to 12, 9 in the morning to 12 noon, I have a date with my dissertation. I write for 3 hours, okay? Or if I have a book, I have to give my time. So when I was working on this anthology, I scheduled time. It was a very, very difficult time because I had my dissertation to work on, and I had also the anthology to work on. So, but I made the time. I made 1 hour a day for the anthology, just to write and do whatever I received from all of you, and keep the correspondence. Sometimes there was no text to review, no editing, but it was just keeping track, keeping you updated with everything that I needed to make sure that we are on the same page. Yes. Hard work is another thing. You cannot expect to accomplish something and just think about it and poof, comes out of nowhere. You have to do the work. Hard work is an important thing. And I would say the fourth element is associating yourself with people that have the same mindset. You cannot succeed in something if you associate with people who do not have the same mindset or who have no interest in what you are interested. So you have to associate with people who think alike, who can encourage you, who can criticize you. Might not be pretty, but it's necessary. So, that is interesting, but it doesn't do any good. So you have to give it up. Change it, mold it. Change the mold to something else. But so it's very important. These 4 elements, to have faith in God and start your work with faith that you will succeed. You will do something good for yourself and for others. Work hard to accomplish it. and then associate with people who can actually help you accomplish that. Nobody can do things on his own, on or her own. You have to have somebody to help you, somebody to at least ask for an idea. You know, can you take a look over this? And it was the same with my dissertation and with the anthology. I thought I wrote an excellent chapter in my dissertation, and then my advisor looked over and I got back the text with so many things to change and review and rewrite and all of that. So you need that extra pair of eyes to look over if you want to succeed. If you want to just do it, then yeah, you don't need any advice. But if you want to succeed, if you want to be successful in what you're doing, you need somebody else's opinion. You need somebody else's honest criticism to help you. People, and you don't need a bunch of people. You don't need a dozen people. You need 2 or 3 people. That's a lot, you know, to help you succeed.
Yes, very important what you say. Yes.
Father Eugen, do you know that you tend to become those who we admire? Who do you admire the most?
That's a tricky question, Emilian. You know, there's a saying, at least it is in my mind. I don't know exactly how many people are using it, whether there's actually a coin form of this, but I would say, tell me who your friends are to tell you who you are.
Ah,
You know, so it's an easy thing, you know, to look for people you are associated with. While I was in Romania, I had a professor of Romanian language. Actually, I have a little story in my book about him. The story is Don Calistru. He was an amazing man. A graduate of the University of Czernowitz with a degree in theology, and a graduate of the University of Alexandria on Cuza in Iași with a degree in literature. So he was the only professor that he came to class with only the catalog, the presence and the note grade book. Okay, no books, no notes, nothing.
wow.
And he came and began to explain to us and give us description of the books, the meanings of words and expressions from whatever literature we had. I remember in the 9th grade, we're learning about the old Romanian literature. And the early literature, Romanian literature, is all about church books, from liturgicon, gospel, epistle, even catechisms. So at the same time, there was a book that came out in political editura politica, and had, like always, they did that all the time with bits and pieces from the Bible, you know, 2 or 3 words, not even the whole verse. Even they even took words from Eminescu, and so forth, just to make a case against anything that is valuable. Faith, tradition, history, you know, to show that only the communism is the right way of thinking. The communism is the right way of seeing things, and so forth. So one of my classmates said, well, look what this author said in this book about God and about the Bible. And that was the first time I saw this professor turning red and furious. And as he was lecturing facing the window, not the class, he just turned to the class with his red face. If you really want to know what the Bible said, read the Bible.
Yes.
Don't read this garbage. And that,
Wow.
nothing more. And this was during the mighty communist regime. Okay.
Wow.
So the summer came. I found an old Bible from 1909 in my parents' attic, and like every beginner, I started with the beginning. with the Genesis. And it was that book was written with some characters that were abandoned after that. Very, very strange symbols and all of that. So I read a little bit, and I couldn't understand a thing, and it was difficult for me to read in the first place. So I went to the parish priest. Again, he's another one that I admire, and I also have a story about him, the spiritual father. He was someone that I admire extraordinarily, because he was sought and beaten by the Russian army when they occupied the county of Yash, and when his wife, I mean, you could still see a little dent in his skull from the weapon when the Russian soldier hit him in the head.
Wow.
And when his wife tried to say, leave him alone, you're going to kill him, they beat her too. So it was a mess. And he never talked about that experience. He never talked. I tried once with a question, and he avoided me very gently. He was a very, very gentle man, and he gave me a Bible and guided me how to read the Bible. Gave me 2 books of the Apostolic Fathers, and he told me that I can keep both the Bible and the 2 books of the Apostolic Fathers. I still have them, and it was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. But I had somebody to guide me, show me how to read and what it is, and how everything was. So it was a wonderful experience. I had a lot of other people who came into my life for a very short period of time, but they had an impact. They had an impact in my life, because at a very given moment, when I was, let's say, a little desperate. Now, I'll give a little story, since this is about the storybook. So I'll tell you a story. I was, at the time, I was parish priest in Pittsburgh with a new congregation, and we purchased a former Catholic church, and now we had to remodel it. The church was abandoned for about 5 years. There was nobody in there, and I think for the 5 years before they actually closed the church, they didn't do many repairs. So there were a lot of things that needed to be repaired or replaced altogether. And